So I told you I have that Addison Rae song stuck in my head for
Still,
like a week now. I've tried playing it, but I think I have to like stay off TikTok for a week to get it out of my head. Because
that's
the
so
second I like streamed it on Spotify or whatever, and I was like, okay, I played it a couple of times, like get it out of my head, and it was fine. And then I got on TikTok the next day, and it's back in my head again.
I mean, it's catchy.
It's so catchy. And there's like, I was like, how did she go from this like random TikTok star to like pop star? And there, whoever is doing her marketing strategy is crushing it.
Probably the same person as Benson Boone.
It's fair. Another one that's crushing it.
Yeah.
Seriously. I feel like, oh, good. Now there's a spider on my computer. Hello. This spider is going to be my new friend. He's cute. He's gray. He's very, very like zippy.
If y'all could see my face right now,
I am a squirrel today. I don't know how this is going to bode for our episode.
it's fine. I'm excited about today's topic.
Today's topic is a good one. The art of pivoting.
Pivot.
Pivot. Pivot. And we all know what meme we're going to use for this.
Obvious. There's only one choice.
There is. There's only one choice. Oh, the classic show, you know.
Yes.
So pivoting. And I feel like pivoting covers a lot. Um, but in terms of us, I feel like it'll be career based for sure. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, because I feel like we've both pivoted so much in the last 3 years.
I would say like for me, it probably started around the like right after the pandemic is when I was just like, okay,
Same.
something change. Which obviously that brings about lots of feelings for lots of people. I think a lot of people felt that things will never be the same after going through something like that. So, yeah, what better time to make a gigantic life change than after the world shut down?
That's fair. What, well, let's go ahead and let's talk about your pivot a bit.
Me first.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Okay.
Oh, I lost my spider friend.
Probably crawling up your leg.
Oh my God, stop. I'm hoping he finds his way outdoors. Oh, he's on my mic. Oh God, sorry.
I cannot.
Oh, no, he's on my leg. Okay. He's a hopping spider, so he'll make his way out. Okay, sorry. All
No.
right, pivoting. Pivoting back to pivoting.
Yes, pivoting back to pivoting. All right, so I'll start. I was at Prada when the pandemic hit. I actually had just gotten back in town from a beautiful trip to Lisbon, with my friend who we've
But
talked about.
wait,
Nikki.
wait.
Yeah.
Let's jump back a little
Okay.
because
I'm gonna get there.
oh, okay, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I know where you're going, but yeah, I'm gonna get there.
Okay.
So I just got back into the country, literally the day before the world shut down. And at first it was just like not that big of a deal because we still really didn't know what was going on yet. And the regional manager at the time was like, hey, we're gonna pay you to stay home for the next 2 weeks just to like quarantine, make sure you didn't bring anything back. And I was like, okay, this sounds awesome. And then shortly after that, I go back to work. Then the world really does shut down and like the store physically closed. Everybody's like at home. And so working in retail like that, I found it very like very challenging to do that from home during the pandemic. Like they wanted us to like keep in touch with our clients and like reach out to these people. And no shade whatsoever to the brand. Like I said, I loved working for the company. But I found it very difficult to authentically and genuinely reach out to these people during this time where like literally, not to sound like the Kim Kardashian meme, but like there are people dying. The last thing I felt like they needed was to have their salesperson check on them to see if they needed a Prada bag in the middle of a pandemic. And I had already started to transition and get more interested in pursuing a career in fitness. So to me, that was like a sign that I was like, okay, I think other situations happened that led to my decision to leave, but like that was one of the big reasons why I was like, I think I'm done here. Like I think my time is up. It's time to move on. And I'm always like a sink or swim type person. So I'm like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make it happen. So I quit.
And
But
this is the same time you started Oliver and Grace, right?
yes. So Oliver and Grace kind of came to be in the middle of all of this as well, because everybody's staying home and like athleisure was becoming a huge thing. And so we primarily do like women's activewear and like, kind of comfy clothes, some casuals. Every now and then we'll do some like fun pieces like for holidays and stuff. But we specialize in loungewear and athletic apparel. Can you all hear my dog? Okay. I know the mic is like the settings, but just in case, because she's very loud right now. So to backtrack, we started Oliver and Grace, that's Megan and I, in the middle of the pandemic. And she and I had also been like working out regularly. I was kind of like writing workouts for us to do, and we did them at her um gym in her
Me
apartment
too.
complex. You too, yeah. And it was prior to that, like people who worked in the building were like, "Hey, what have you been doing in the gym? Like, would you mind like helping me out?" And so I was like writing programming for people.
Keep going. It cut out from somebody calling in. I don't know how they got past my
Oh,
thing.
sorry.
Okay, keep
Um,
going.
so a couple people had asked like if they could basically do what I was doing in the gym, like if I would write it down. And I was thinking to myself, is like, I really enjoy this. I feel like I'm really good at it. And I was like, I'm gonna get certified and be official because you can't just like write a workout program for somebody and not know what you're talking about. So I wanted to learn more about it and decided to take the next steps in becoming a certified trainer. And I did like personal training, I did small group training, and I did nutrition because I wanted to learn like the whole package. Um, Obviously not a registered dietitian program, but general nutrition to go along with like helping improve fitness. So I kind of just jumped in and I saw that um somebody that I knew from the past was working at a gym that was hiring, and I just like sent her a message and was like, "You know what? I need to stop being scared. I put in the work. I've got my certification now. Like, I'm just going to reach out and see if they would hire me with basically no experience besides working out with my friends." So I did it. And that was like the start of my transition into fitness from the world of fashion.
So, and I feel like you've pivoted earlier on in life too, because you went to college for fine arts,
Yeah.
right?
So I was an art student. I did fine arts and art history. And that was really because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I was really interested in art. And I still do love the arts and creating art and things like that. With the very little free time I have, I actually just recently started sketching again. So, but that's more of something that I consider like a hobby. Um, I don't see myself ever having like a gallery showing or anything like that. It's just something I do for fun. And at this point, my mom was just like, pick something so that you can walk across the stage. And I was like, okay, art.
And
And
then that was when you were at UNO.
so that was when I was at UNO. And then I had this one professor who was a complete horrible, like, I don't know if he was definitely sexist. I don't know if he was racist, but he was awful. And he had me like completely just broken down, second guessing why I'm even doing the art program in the first place. and just made me feel like really inadequate. And so I was just like, you know what? I don't think I want to do this anymore. And then it just so happened that Katrina hit. And so after Katrina, I ended up going to LSU in that like crazy in between semester where they were just accepting students from New Orleans. Um, and then after that, I ended up going back to UNO as soon as like we could finally get back into the New Orleans area. Like our house was like gone, but my parents like made it work. And so from there, once I was back at UNO, I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. And then I decided that I wanted to transfer to LSU when I found out that they had a fashion program, which I'd always been interested in that. Like when I was younger, if you asked me what I wanted to be, I wanted to be a fashion designer, like living in New York or LA or something like that. So I was like, they have a fashion program, like done, no questions. This is what I'm doing. So I did apparel merchandising. And then so the job at Prada was really great and very much aligned with what I had gone to school for. I just didn't see growth in that company, being that I am firmly settled, like married. I didn't have a child at the time, but like I wasn't gonna just like be like, hey, we're gonna uproot and move to wherever Prada wanted to move me. And so I didn't really see growth in the company as an option for me. And I was feeling kind of stagnant where I was. So it's just like, okay, well, I'm done, moving on, next thing. And and so here I am, years later, and there were points where I really thought I wanted to quit this, and then I was like, well, what would I do if I don't do this? And I really can't see myself doing anything different. So, in addition to Oliver and Grace, which is primarily online, but now we have a physical presence in the Houston area, I really have been enjoying exploring more opportunities in the fitness realm of New Orleans and surrounding areas.
Because you're teaching at three different studios right now, right?
Yeah, so I'm at Clockwork Performance in Kenner, which is incredible. I'm learning so much about not just like fitness and movement and like correct form and all the techniques in every movement that we need for like functional fitness, but I'm learning more about myself. And then I'm at Swoot, uptown on Magazine Street. And that's like it's a fun environment there, like all the like neon lights, and it's like just that it's very Instagrammable. You walk in and you just feel that energy immediately. And then I'm also at Fire Stride in Lakeview, which is going to be a little bit more cardio focused. And that's also a really fun one that will, it doesn't seem that bad until you get there and then it completely kicks your butt. So I don't know. I'm really happy. I love all three places that I'm at. And it took me a while to appreciate the fact that I actually like the people that I'm working for and with, and they're not going to like completely screw me over. Because I
Mhm.
think I had
Yeah.
like two previous jobs in between all of this, like when I'm still trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be, that were pretty toxic. And so you go through that like self-doubt, like, is it me? Because, at the end of the day, I was the common denominator in all of these positions. So it's nice to finally feel like I can take a deep breath and I don't have to be like constantly on guard or walking on eggshells. So
What was your biggest challenge when pivoting from Prada to fitness?
money. Um,
Okay, money is always a problem,
yeah.
other
Well,
than money.
honestly, the biggest thing was money because I got paid really well working in luxury fashion and I didn't have to worry about like, oh, I'm going to take off and go to Portugal. So here's my PTO. So I'm still getting paid while I'm on this trip. And I have like, I know that I'm coming back to like more money. So it's like, it's not, it was very steady and reliable. And so moving into fitness where I am creating my own schedule now, basically, like with all of these studios, they work around like my availability. So it's finding a way to create work-life balance and still be able to pay bills.
Did
Because
you
there's
suffer?
so now if I'm sick or if I go on vacation, I'm not teaching those classes, so I don't get money for that. Like there's no such thing as PTO.
No, there is not. So, did you ever suffer from like imposter syndrome?
Did I ever? I mean, I still do sometimes, but I'm getting better at it. I'm getting much more confident in my abilities as a coach, as a instructor, as a trainer, whatever you want to call it. And I don't know, I feel like I'm where I should be.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's still room to grow and there's still work to do, but I feel like I'm in a good place and I'm surrounded by people who make me want to be better and make me want to continue growing and learning and moving in this right direction because it really does feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be right now.
Did you ever get a human design reading?
I did. And let me see if I can pull that up because I did it and then I had the app on my phone for a while.
Yeah, it's human design. I know it's a little woo-woo, but like I feel like it's one of the things that once I understood how I was designed to be, I gave myself permission to kind of, like kind of fall in with it, I guess,
Yeah,
for whatever reason.
I actually worked with a like a coach online and so she did like my full like human design reading and like basically told me everything about the chart. Let's see, it's not letting me log in, but I'll get back to that. But I did do that and I have my chart and it was very
What
affirming.
you're a manifesting generator?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah. I'm like a classic projector, which is like fairly, it's just very me. But I think she said my numbers are 3 5. And I think one of the interesting things about that is the three, like so you usually have two numbers and what is it? Hang on, I'm gonna pull it up too. Oops. No, no, no. Oh, this dog. I need to get her to come in here and lay down. Let's see. Come here, dog.
I'm trying to like go back through my the group where she did my reading so I can find what she said.
Oh my God. Anywho, the 3 5 for me. So like that number has a stand. It's for how you see yourself versus how others see you. So I
Mhm.
see myself as a 3. Everybody sees me as a 5, which is really nice because I definitely don't get that. But my human design led me to understanding um my whole, I guess being like a multi hyphenate and having various pursuits of passion, different passions and stuff, but also how empathic I am, learning to set boundaries because I just literally everything around my heart and my throat is all white and like literally just means I am like a giant absorbing human and I absorb everyone's everything.
Yeah.
And for someone who doesn't do boundaries very well, it's a very bad thing. So I've learned that it's been more crucial. And I think that's part of the reason I've gotten firmer over the years and more direct rather than being so passive, but it's hard for me still. And then with that, I also learned like I like to repeat meals and eat the same things over and over again because of how it just food becomes fuel and like I need to use my creativity elsewhere, right? And so like I don't want to use getting creative in the kitchen isn't necessarily for me, you know?
Okay.
Which is like for what, like the last 2 years, up until about 6 months ago, for the last 2 years, I drink the same smoothie every single day. It was your smoothie recipe.
Okay, so I am a generator. My profile is the living contrast, which hello, I told y'all I am a stereotypical Libra.
We
Living
know.
yeah, so it's interesting. I will send you my chart because it's pretty
Right. So my profile. So yeah, I'm a projector, but my profile is 3-5. I'm the great life experimenter. And if that doesn't wrap me up in a tight little bow, I don't know what else does.
right. Like I feel like yes, it is like a little woo-woo, but it's completely validating because everything that I read and everything that she told me about like what
Right?
that said, I was like, wow, I feel really seen and like heard. And it made me feel better about making such a huge transition. And like thankfully I'm fortunate enough to have a supporting family and they are all like about helping me.
Like you see how white I am all over?
I mean,
That is how ridiculously empathic I go back a little bit. You've got your
I know I
thing
could
on. You're gonna have to screenshot it. Oh yeah. See, yeah, we have the same like purple heart chakra situation, which is love and direction. Oh, and like my throat chakra is communication. I love to communicate, talk through things, and process things, which we know.
Mhm.
I mean, literally, how many times have I talked through all of my pivots with you?
I mean, it's like weekly. That's why we FaceTime like all the time anyway.
This is true. This is very true.
But yeah, I think, but essentially to sum it up, I'm really feeling like truly happy for like the first time in a long time. So I know that like I want to continue down this path of like continuing to grow Oliver and Grace and continuing to work at I mean, I love the three places that I'm at, and all of the people that I work with and for are amazing people. And all of the like the members that I've been meeting are awesome too. So it's like these three places fulfill different things for me.
Mhm.
And I like that I can kind of also get my like gym rat ADD out because they're all three very different environments.
They really are. Like, I mean, you literally go from Uptown to Lakeview to like Bro Station in Kenner.
Listen, don't knock it.
I don't. I ask for pics. So
Just follow the Instagram.
follow the gram.
Yeah.
I know you need to put your weekly workouts back up on your Instagram. You haven't been doing
I know.
that.
Well, then my schedule has been also changing at random, so it's been hard to kind of like know for sure. And then of course with the holidays coming up, I'm subbing for a lot of classes and so I'll be teaching a lot more. So there will be more opportunities for people in the New Orleans area to come get a workout in with me.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Maybe I'll come and visit and take some classes too.
Good.
I mean, we all know I'm like a cluster of a mess. So I definitely, and I work out. I mean, I do 3 days a week lifting weights and I walk 10 to 20,000 steps a day, depending. Never miss it.
No, you're crushing it.
Yeah. If only I would start building muscle. I mean, I am starting to build muscle. It's just taking forever.
Well, again, perimenopause.
God. Ugh, which I'm pretty sure is next week's episode.
Okay, so enough about me.
Okay.
Talk about your pivot
I feel
because
like my entire life is a pivot.
true. Okay, so before we get into your pivot, I
Okay.
just need people to know that Erin moves every couple of years. So she's never been in one place for very long. It's like not more than like I would say like 5 years max. Has been
Yeah,
like
that sounds about right.
about every 5 years, y'all like
Yeah.
and like when I say up and move, I mean like different spots in the country, like different states. Like she went from Louisiana to Texas, and then from Texas you were in Charleston, and now from Charleston you are in Dayton,
I'm
Ohio.
in Dayton, Ohio. Yeah.
Ohio. And so I feel like whether or not you've made this connection, I feel like a lot of times your pivots also happen with your moves.
That's fair. I mean, yes and no, because especially with Roarin, with my handbag brand, I was doing that for like 15 years on and off when I could while working full time before, I had an angel investor, be like, here, quit your job, do it full time, make it work, which is really cool. And I was very lucky. It just so happened that when that happened, the pandemic came along, and that's when things changed for me because I realized how toxic the fashion industry was. I realized how much, I was contributing to being like one of the biggest problems on our planet and one of the two, right? The meat industry and then fashion. I mean, it's like the two most toxic industries on our planet. And I wanted to, so, my pivot in that sense was like from being a luxury brand to being like a brand that made, good, sustainable choices, I guess. By utilizing high quality materials that were transparent and so I was trying to pivot in that sense to create this really amazing brand. And but I also realized that I don't know when I realized this because I kept pivoting roaring, right? Like I kept being like, oh, I need to do this, oh, I
I,
need to do this.
I think you were starting to feel like stuck in the fact that like Roarin at that point in time you thought that was going to be all you did.
Mm-hmm.
And you were trying to make that work with your new feelings towards the industry, which was kind of growing like a little resentment. But I think you did a great job at like source sorry at sourcing sustainable like pieces and like
Oh yeah.
leather, even doing the work that you did with like anchor leather in.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I all the materials like the leather, I was so cautious going through leather working group to find like the most transparent ones so I knew the animals were treated well. The materials were dyed in recycling water, things like that to like but they were still like the highest quality materials. I mean, I used some of the same tanneries as Hermes, and I went through like this whole process and like even making sure that like the items that if there were anything like hardware that I purchased out of China, I knew where those factories were, how they were run, making sure the workers were treated fairly, paid fairly.
And at this point in time, you were still making your bags yourself. by
Some of
hand.
them. I mean, I remember I was working with the New Orleans manufacturer as well.
Okay, so you had that manufacturer, but like I feel like at the end of the day, you were never 100% satisfied when you weren't 100% responsible for each piece.
Yeah, because it's just the quality in construction never came to be how I wanted it. And that's because I come from a background where I was taught to saddle stitch by hand, and that you can't replicate that with a sewing machine. And but also I could barely get people to purchase my bags at the price point when they were being, made by humans on a sewing machine, nonetheless have them purchase like something that I'm making completely by hand, not a tool in sight,
Yeah.
And so I also think it sucks because I think that our age group wants to contribute and to purchase from small brands like myself, but we have the boomers and then the people, the Gen Zers that are all about fast fashion, all about purchasing whatever they can get or high name luxury brands.
I think it's a combination of like people will like currently wear fast fashion on their bodies, but their accessories, for the most part, they want to be like as obvious as possible. Look at this designer that I'm wearing, even though they're wearing like a $6 garment from like Shein or something. They're
Oh,
like it's Prada bag, or look at this like Louis Vuitton, and it's just like it's such a sick cycle of just generating trash.
oh yeah, man, my last Instagram I do these like Instagram rants about Shein. And I actually have a lot of feedback. I'm still doing the research on it before I do my rant. But I've had people ask and request about Skims because Skims is actually rated even lower than Shein,
What?
which I didn't think was actually possible.
That doesn't surprise me because I wouldn't put it past her to be selling lower quality garments, but just charging more money because of the name associated with it.
Oh, and it's not even that. It's like the toxicity levels, and that stuff is hugging your skin.
Oh
Not
yeah.
to mention the child labor laws that are being broken. Like I'm still in research mode before I get on my rant about it. But it's pretty intense. And, I think one of the things that made me the most irate about fashion and how fast fashion was really all consuming, and still is, was with Shein, if you're purchasing a $5 shirt on sale, I mean, I've seen stuff go as low as like 50 cents on there. Can you imagine? A, all the work that goes into that shirt, that's not just somebody sewing the shirt for $2. That is the materials. Y'all, people have to grow that material. Raw materials come from somewhere. And
That like the average person like doesn't want to think about it. Because if they start to think about it, then they're like, oh well, because
well,
I
it's slavery. So yeah.
no, I have friends who like I know that they shop there. Like I know that they do. And they just like don't tell me about it anymore because every time they mention it, I'm like, okay, but if you paid $6 for this dress, how much do you think it costs to make it? Because you know they're making a profit. How much do you think they're paying the child that probably made it? And it's so it's I know. I go on my rants too. And at the same time, like I find that I am guilty of shopping fast fashion when it's convenient. And that's the thing. People are all about convenience. So it's hard to
Right.
stay accountable for that and then also like go on these rants, but then I find myself guilty. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, you know what? This should probably just be an entire episode. Uh
I mean, like we can make that a separate
episode.
yeah.
Yeah. Not to mention I do when I do these rants, I save them on my highlights on my Instagram feed. And so I will next time I do one, I'll make sure to tag Dear Delulu and you can share it. But anywho, so back to my pivot.
Pivoting back to the pivot.
Pivot back to the pivot. So yeah, so I learned a lot about more about the fashion industry than I already known, but learning even more about it after, especially in my college years where I mean, I was like the queen of buying an outfit for literally everything. And I did secondhand shop a lot my entire life. I mean, I love thrifting, but it was more is more impactful in my life now, whereas then it was like meh, it wasn't the cool thing to do. And um so anywho, so I really wanted to change my path there, but what really happened was I was working in Texas for a multi-hyphenate creative. Like working for Carrie Crop really showed me that you can do multiple things and do them well. And what I did for her, like she brought me on to kind of like run her events, but it turned into like brand management, building her websites. I ended up doing, excuse me, an entire logo design for her overall brand, bringing her brands together. And proudly, she still uses it to this day, and it was creating like this really amazing crest. And obviously, with Roarin, I had gone through two logos, you know, and had my own rebrands, and I never had access because like I couldn't afford an agency to help me build my visual brand, build websites. I always had to figure it out on my own. And so with that, I learned how to use Adobe Illustrator and all of that in college when I was learning pattern making. Because I mean, I did go to school for fashion design, and I have a minor in business. So I did have those like accolades, I guess, to attribute to what I do now. But during to make extra money during COVID, I took on like a couple of nonprofit clients to help them out, where some of the work I actually did for free. Um, and then at some point I was like, okay, I need to make some money. Um, I started doing branding. I did it for Tirza International. I did some, I would do signage and stuff for the museum in Texas. And I started just, over the last 5 years, I've just had clients. I did some other jobs in Texas, and now I have
Did Oliver and Grace.
jobs. I did Oliver and Grace. I did, which needs a rebrand, by the
Yeah, I know we need to work on that.
way. And so I've done a lot of small brands and help them kind of just, through visual strategy, um, you create trust and value with your customers. And that was always the goal with everything I did, was to create something recognizable through color, through typography. Um, it's not just about a logo, it's about the story you're telling. And so I ended up in May of 2023 turning that freelance work that I had been doing just under the table while trying to make Roaring move. Um, I turned it into a full-fledged business and started taking more clients and kind of going back to custom work with Roarin. And, you know, it was through struggling to find manufacturers to achieve what I wanted, for me to also realize that I love the creativity and the conception behind an idea, but I didn't like executing the final product in terms of physically making the bag. It was something that I'm so detail oriented that it wasn't bringing me joy. And with that, with the mix of like struggling with manufacturing, I was like, I don't want this anymore. But also, I didn't like making money off of it, if I'm being completely honest. It was
Yeah.
too much of my heart and soul that I didn't enjoy it anymore. And I fell out of love with it the second I had to make money from it,
Yeah.
which I can't say that for this visual business. Like I've been doing it for 5 years to make money and I still love it. You
But
know,
you get to recreate the process with each new client. So you're continuously getting those feelings of like creating something meaningful for somebody. And I feel like there's something to be said about doing something that is helping somebody versus doing something or creating something that is not a necessity, but it's a pretty thing.
mm-hmm.
Um,
No, definitely.
so I think that, I mean, and watching you go through all of these pivots, you put in the work to be really good at what you're doing. So I think that shows and like speaks for itself in your work.
Yeah, I feel like I've taken random online classes. I always try to make sure if I can't do it, I figure it out, but also for the sake of the client, if I know I can't do it, I outsource the work where I need to.
Okay, now question. Are we going to get into your current
Yes.
bit? Okay, because there's more.
There's more.
Oh wait, there's more. It's like the sham wow.
I know it's ShamWow. So I have actually I haven't like announced it or did anything. I just completely erased my Instagram and from scratch to nothing. I archived everything. I am on an indefinite pause with Roaring. We'll call it indefinite pause because, when a door closes, a window opens. You never know. I don't ever think a door is closed and locked. And that doesn't mean that I can't revisit it someday. That being said, I am selling my sewing machines because I hate those things. If I do any work, it'll be
We know
hand
that you
stitching.
prefer hand stitching
Yeah,
anyway, which one of these days when I can afford my alligator skin, I'm still gonna get you to make that back.
only you.
I know.
Um, so yeah, so I put the indefinite pause on Roarin because I am doing well with this other business. I have a great amount of clients coming in. That being said, something I've always wanted to do, and I never did it because, I always wanted to do photography. I always thought that in order to be successful, you had to be a wedding photographer. And like, I think wedding photographers are amazing. I didn't even have a wedding because I hate them so much. So I was like, I never pursued it. I did take a class in photography. I actually got into a class where it was mostly in the darkroom and it was film. And I wasn't supposed to be in said class, but it was a technology fluke. And I got into it. I took it anyways, and they let me stay. Nobody ever said anything. And it was great. I loved it. And I love film in particular. And so and I say I want to, I'm currently pivoting, but I'm pivoting into fashion photography, but I'm not deserting my visual branding business because
I
I
don't
still
think,
love that.
well, I don't think you have to because I think the two can also go hand in hand.
Right? Yeah, I feel like it
Yeah.
could. I mean, I did some branding shots for an artist. Like I'm totally game to doing cool. I don't want to just do like headshots, but like if a small business wants to do like a cool editorial shoot of themselves, like
Oliver and Grace.
huh?
Oliver and Grace.
And yes. Like, and I'm talking like I want to do editorial-esque things for those small businesses. I'm not looking to do headshots or like, no offense to other photographers, but like nothing kitschy or anything like that. Like that's just not me. It's editorial and fashion and making these like cool imageries and videos. And I mean, I use an old Pentax 67 that's from like the 1970s, 80s or something like that. And I also have a camcorder and a Super 8 film for like video and stuff. Like I am talking old school,
I
which
love it.
probably goes against all of my sustainability if we're being honest.
I mean, I feel like you're keeping like that art alive, you know?
Well,
I think
I tried digital photography and I strongly disliked it because it felt like you had to, first of all, yeah, you get like crisp imagery, which is cool, but like something happens to the colors. Like there's either too much magenta or there's not enough like orange and it gets too like washed out. Like no matter what my settings were, it's in my eye, it just like didn't appeal to me.
yeah.
And so I was like, especially like, I have like a very expensive digital camera that I'm going to sell because I mean, it's just like doesn't suit what I want to do with it. And so, yeah, I want to do fashion photography, but all on film.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of my favorite things about doing my own brand was the creative direction and mood boarding every single photo shoot. I mean, and then having all of my photo shoots, like when I did them, whether I was doing them, which I did a lot of my photo shoots early on, like actually all of them.
Yeah. I thoroughly
And
enjoyed having you do all of the planning and production for that shoot that we did in Fredericksburg with Leah.
oh yeah, that was great. That was
That
so
was so
fun.
much fun. And like, I'm telling you all, like, Erin pretty much planned everything. All I did was supply the clothes and like we picked the models together. We had an amazing photographer.
Yeah,
which
Leah.
she was amazing, and the the location was awesome, and it was like everything that we needed it to be for the brand, and it still very much fits like the direction that we want. I just we don't have those clothes anymore, so I need to like
True.
update, get another shoot scheduled. So
Yeah. I mean, and I think, huh?
we'll talk later.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's like one of the things that like I love creative direction in general, which is why I also love my visual business because I get to help guide these brands into like here's how to utilize these assets and here's a direction to go in with your imagery. I'm really excited about I mean all three clients that I have in my branding business for like branding right now. I have three brand clients and one web design. And the three branding it's all new businesses that, one's a major nonprofit. It's actually going to be very huge and is in consolidation with, um, or in collaboration with the city. And so there are a lot of limits on things, but it also has a lot of creative power. And that's going to actually go really far, I feel like. So I get to see it, and also one of them is a fashion industry business. So I'm excited about that. Um, so I'm excited, especially because like it's very 70s retro vibe. So it's a different path. But I'm really loving all of the work that I'm doing right now. And so it's like when I say pivot into fashion photography, I'm not necessarily like abandoning my visual branding business. It's called ETC Creative Studio. So
Which I
it
also
covers a
think
lot.
that it is a play on like etc. because you can literally make it whatever you want it to be, which I
Yeah,
think is perfect for you because you you thrive when you have like creative freedom to do what you want to
right.
do. So even though you have like made these major pivots, they still work together, which I
Yeah,
think is cool. And like you've stayed in that specific lane, which I think that's another thing that's hard for people is picking a lane and like staying there because it's like sure, I could be really good at this, or I could be like kind of good at this, kind of good at that, and like a little here, a little there. So I think it's important to like really think about the way you feel when you're doing whatever it is that you do for money. And does it fill your cup or does it exhaust you? Does it empty your
yeah.
cup? So I think that you've done a great job at like picking a lane and you like all you're doing is like you're just narrowing it down,
Hmm.
which I think is that's the hard part for a lot of people. So, and
Yeah, it
even
is.
with like having like obviously fitness and like an online store doesn't seem to go that well, but being that it is mostly athletic apparel, it still aligns with like that same thing. So it's like narrowing that path and just like sticking with that one thing because it's like even with that, like we've tried selling like more like party dresses and like special occasion like pieces. And like, yeah, it was fun, but at the same time, we find that we're like, we don't wear stuff like this. Like, we wear athletic apparel pretty much all of the time. And so now it's like when I do dress up, it's more of an occasion. So I think finding that niche in whatever it is that you're doing is an important part of your pivot so that you can like narrow your focus and be the best you can possibly be in that one specific area.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I think it's also like in terms of fitness in Oliver and Grace, I feel like in Oliver and Grace, it's also the role that you play, the things that you focus on versus what Meg focuses on, because you have a business partner.
So Meg is, I mean, she does all of the things that I strongly dislike, which is amazing. Because I get to do like things for the business that like it's fun for me. Like it's fun for me to create content and do reels and um plan events and like things like that. So I'm actually planning something now and we'll talk about that later. But like planning events and like working on like the social aspect of things is that's fun for me. So it doesn't feel like work. Like yes, it is work, but like I enjoy doing that. So like for me, when I'm trying to like wind down in the evening, like I'm gonna pull out my laptop and I'll probably do a little bit of work while like TV's on or whatever. And I usually listen to music when I'm working because it helps me like get in the zone and I will like knock stuff
Same.
out. So
But you also do the social for Dear Delulu.
I do, which but that's also been fun for me. Like,
Yeah,
let me see what stupid reel or meme I can come up with to post next.
that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, they're getting pretty good.
I mean, I'm trying to keep it like light and fun and like quirky, just like we are. So,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's also the balance behind it is making sure that the pieces that you are doing are bringing you joy.
yeah.
Like with what I do, it's if like let's say I'm like really frustrated and like I'm just not in the mood to develop the website, I draft it entirely in Figma, and once the client approves the design, I can just pay someone to just whip it up. It's just, I mean, it comes out of my money. So like if I need the money, I do it. But if I don't need the money, I can outsource it and
Well, there
still
you
make money off of it.
go. And I think like it's helpful to have a partner like Megan who does the like the spreadsheets and keeps track of like the numbers and things like that because that's the stuff that makes my brain hurt.
Oh God, I hired a bookkeeper. Thank God, because I mean, my books were destroyed.
So no, like, and then we can like export pretty much everything from the website itself too, so that makes things easier. But like, she's been crushing it in Houston.
She really has been.
Yeah.
Like,
So
she's totally been crushing it, which is awesome.
props to you, Meg.
Major props, Meg. We're proud. I know she sold like six of our collaboration handbags last
I know.
month,
I was like, watch now that like we've had the bag out for a while, and like all of a sudden now people are gonna be like, wait, we need more.
which is fine. We can get more made, but geez, I
Yeah,
mean, out of nowhere. I mean, you just never know when people are going to want something, you
seriously. And
know?
I still love those baskets that you did, like the little totes. Like every time I use that bag, I get complimented on it. So if you ever did want to bring it back, we should probably do another OG Roarin collab.
We can do one in the summer or spring next year.
Yeah.
Those bags were also cool because, they were made in Africa by my friend's business there. And the woven straw bags were actually made by like all a team of all women. It's very cool. Like they're very
I
cool.
think the most important part to note is a team of women making these bags who are being paid fair wages.
Oh yeah, being paid fair wages. Exactly.
That
Yeah. Yeah. It's right outside Nigeria. So, but
that is women supporting women.
that is women supporting women. Yeah, we love Isabel. Um, so yeah, I mean, pivoting has me all over the place. But especially like right now, while figuring out this fashion photography thing, it's been interesting to say the least. Learning that I didn't need to invest in this digital camera for one. Um, Especially because like all of the vintage cameras I have, I mean, two of the cameras I had, one I'm waiting on with my Delulu hat.
Oh
I
yeah,
even sent you shipping money.
no, we have work coming, guys.
I've been meaning to text you about it, but I was like, oh, I'll give her off hassling her about it because it's her birthday week, but that's over.
I
So I'm
know.
back to annoying you.
Well, you know what? When we finish this conversation, I will go to the post office and you can even track my location. Okay?
Okay, I
It's
trust.
in the box. It's ready
I
to go.
know.
I am just like I'm the worst. Like talk about squirrel brain. Like I have to write everything down.
Me too.
Don't write it down. It gets forgotten about.
No, I know. I'm right there with you. I get it. But that's why I keep reminding you.
Yeah, I know. And I appreciate the reminders because I'm like I'm finding that I'm really organized up to a certain extent,
Girl, I'm not organized at all. If it's not in my phone, it's not happening.
which is crazy because if it's not in my physical planner, like I have to write it down. I check my planner every night. I check it every morning, like compulsively. And especially with like being at three different gyms, I just want to make sure like I never want to be that
Mm,
goes to like forgets I have a class. So especially now with like the holidays coming up, I'm subbing for a lot of people. I am checking those like the scheduling apps that like my studios use constantly, like
yeah.
every multiple times a day, just to make sure like triple, quadruple check that I'm not missing a class because whew,
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, I mean, I utilize like the most basic. People always ask me how I stay organized because I think one of the hardest thing about working for yourself is like not forgetting about a client. Like that sounds terrible, but like it's so easily could be done. I
oh yeah.
literally use my reminders app, my iCalendar, and my notes. And everybody's always like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah. I mean, I need it to be like dumbed down for me."
No, I definitely use my reminders. I set alarms for everything. I still have to write it down. I'll have it in my phone calendar, but it has to be in the paper calendar,
Yeah, I can't do paper.
which I'm still trying to figure out like for those of you who do know me, you know I love a planner, but I have yet to find the perfect planner. So, in the back of this squirrel brain is the idea to create a planner that I've been
Which
talking about for a long time. I just need
we've
to
been
like
talking about this for a long time, yeah.
I just need to do it because I think that I could create the perfect planner.
I mean, even if it's the perfect planner for you, I mean, then yay. If other
I feel
people want
like
to buy it, then yay.
I think that there's a lot of people out there with brains like mine. So,
You know, speaking of like organized people, I was on the phone with my sister, like our usual Monday night long chat. We talk a couple times a week, but Monday nights we talk the longest. And she is a meal prepper like you are.
no, we talked about my oats that I posted.
Oh, okay. Because I was telling her, I was like, you and Fallon need to touch base on this meal
We
prepping thing.
we share recipes all the time. Like she and
Oh,
I
okay.
is in each other's DMs.
I know she said that y'all were actually close by to each other at Hell's Gala.
Yeah, because hello, VIP ticket. Like
I know
I'm not gonna be with like,
the
you know,
floor. Yeah.
top.
No, I mean, first of all, yeah, an event like that, if you're sober, like Stephanie's sober, if you're sober, psh, at that event, no.
And like by the time I got there, I realized that I was actually gonna have class at 8:30 the next morning. So I was like, all right, like I already know I'm gonna be working on minimal sleep. So
Yeah.
and then plus like the access to like a really nice bathroom. They have
Oh, yeah.
in VIP. Like it was just like the amenities were there. And I'm like,
Yeah. That's okay. After the last Incubus concert we went to, I really should have just bought those seat tickets. I would have lasted longer with my poor back. But that
yeah,
was
but
after my back injury.
you and Meg, I couldn't even handle that. Which, okay, obviously y'all were done talking about pivots. We're just going on a tangent.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and after that concert, I mean, that was when I had injured my back 2 months
Yeah.
prior.
You had hurt yourself.
Hmm.
I was just tired and her back hurt. And I was just like, but y'all, like we've been waiting all day for this and we made
Hmm.
the front row. How are you gonna like go sit down?
I was so excited, but I was in so much pain. I was like, at one point, I actually thought I was going to pass out from pain. Like, I was in so much pain.
Ugh.
It was so bad. I stood as long as I possibly could.
But to be fair, there is like a special part of my brain that is on reserve and it gets activated at concerts and festivals. And I just, it's like my alter ego kicks in. And so I'm like, I'm here, I'm in the front row, I'm not moving. People were like trying to come from my spot too. And I was like, big arms, making myself as wide as possible. Like,
I remember.
I was like, I'll fight.
No, and I would say I'm 100% that person too, because I love a concert and a festival. Like, I miss them so much. But the amount of pain, like when you herniate a disc,
Yeah.
I mean, imagine just, I mean, I hear, I've never had a child. I don't know. But from what I'm told, a herniated disc is second to pain of birthing a child
I had an epidural, so
without an epidural.
I don't know. I
So,
felt nothing. My wisdom teeth hurt more than having a child, but we digress.
yeah, it's worse than wisdom teeth from what I'm told too. But no, it's bad. Um, that being said, I am healthy and well. Well, as healthy and well as I'm going to be.
Applause for Erin getting it together.
I try. I freaking try so
Yeah.
hard.
I was like, there's no way. We've been waiting all day for this. I'm not moving. And we were like, I was up against the like the closest you could possibly be to the stage. I was there. And
I
then
made it up until the last 30 minutes. Actually, it
yeah,
wasn't even, it was like 20 minutes. I was only in that lounge for like 20 minutes,
yeah.
which was actually really nice, by the way.
No, they have a great setup at the Fillmore.
Yeah, that was a nice setup.